An Olive Garden server was fired after receiving a $700 tip. Make sure you watch all the way to the end so you see the outcome of what happens. Let's get into this.
Y'all, the person that left the $700 tip has entered the chat of the Olive Garden drama. I'm not going to catch you all up on this. Olive Garden, as a previous general manager, I've worked every position in a restaurant from dishwasher to a general manager. And I know for a fact we do not charge a tip separately. What? And y'all did it after. This is the customer saying that y'all tried to charge $693 after the girl was already fired. Olive Garden. Ooh, I hope she gets so much more than $700 now. I have had enough of these greedy, nasty, ooh, y'all suck. I can't even say it all. Ooh. And you know what, Olive Garden? Y'all suck too, because the way y'all been acting with those damn Alfredo bowls. If I get a side of Alfredo sauce for my breadsticks and you get and then y'all only fill it up halfway. Motherfucker, I paid for a cup, not half a cup. Fill it up!
See, we gonna have to do the Olive Garden like we did Target and Walmart and boycott their ass, since they like stealing from their employees. So Olive Garden fired a waitress because they said, quote unquote, she was acting emotional because she couldn't get her $700 tip. You heard what I just said? Someone came to Olive Garden.
What do you mean by acting emotional? Like, she just got a $700 tip. She's already working minimum wage. This $700 is gonna do freaking great things for her. She can pay her car on time, whatever the hell the situation is. I don't know her situation. But this $700 does a lot for someone in her situation. You know what I'm saying? So, what do you mean by she's acting emotional? Just say you didn't want to pay her the money she got from working. And isn't this like a tip-based service? Like, don't people have to go out their way to get tips? So this is ridiculous that they did this to her.
Had a $32 bill and left this waitress a $700 tip. You see the note right here. And they found out she got this $700 tip. They told her, write the tip out as zero because the $700 tip couldn't be verified. They then told her she could get 20% of that tip. As far as getting the whole tip, it may take 1 to 2 days or it may take 120 days. What type of shit is that? Of course, this young lady was emotional. She's working, she gets a tip, they tell her she can't get it. From what her mother is saying, that at that moment, they told her either she shape up or she ship out. Meaning, either she stop crying, either she stop being upset, or she can go home. Okay, she made sure that she was okay. She continued working. He goes home, she comes back the next day, and she's fired. They pulled her in the office, and they said they was gonna part ways with her because of her behavior. Because of her crying over her $700 tip that you guys took from her. Mind you, they saying the reason they didn't get this girl a tip is because it came from a fraudulent credit card. But if that's the case, and this is coming from the person whose credit card it was, why did one of the employees there at Olive Garden?
Let's read what this actually says. Hey, just wanted to give you the final update. After I seen everything going on, I locked my card in an attempt to block the tip from coming out. They updated the original charge of $32 to $38. And some change, so only a $6 tip. Wow. So out of that $700, they only give her $6. What a finesse. Then tried to charge an entirely separate transaction of $693. That's not normal. That's not normally how tips come out. So on top of my card being locked, my bank automatically flagged and declined the charge. I can confirm they did not get the money from me, only about $6. I'm really sorry you're going through this. I know it was, me unpause that so I can read that. I knew it was weird when I tried to ask for you specifically and they said your section was full when it clearly wasn't. So you can't, like, I thought you could just walk in and say, hey, I want that person. What do you mean by, oh, she's, come on, dude. Restaurants, like, what happened to the restaurant culture? I knew we've talked separately about the money, so we're on the same page, but let me know if there's anything else I could do to help you with your situation. Can attach a screenshot of the updated charge when I get off work. Wow. Wow, so they're really going out their way to actually help this lady, and it's crazy how Olive Garden will take advantage of that.
As a separate transaction. You see what he said right there? Hey, just wanted to give you a final update. After I seen everything going on, I locked my card in an attempt to block the tip from coming out. They upped the tip, then tried to charge an entirely different transaction of $693. He said that. Mind you, none of that seemed to add up, right? Here's the thing. That waitress that worked there, that young waitress that worked there, is a mother of an autistic son. A young lady that's just trying to find her way. And this is the type of shit they do. Mind you, one manager has been gunning for this girl. He's been saying inappropriate things. He's been doing things to try and fire her. And they just got their chance. And before they fire her, they stole her $700 tip. I'm out.
Did you hear about that server at Olive Garden that was fired over a $700 tip she received? Hey, yeah, I did. Apparently she's a single mom to a 4-year-old autistic little boy. What happened? Well, this mom was waiting on a table that was a regular guest of theirs that they haven't seen in a long time. And when they finally saw her, they were so happy and they left this really generous tip in the amount of $700 with a $32 bill. Wow, that is so nice. So what ended up happening next? Well, she was immediately overwhelmed with tears of joy because she was so happy about the tip that she had received, just like anyone else would. But the management made her enter a zero in and said they would give her 20%. And then she got emotional after that. Why would they make her write zero if they left her a $700 tip? Of course anyone would be upset in that situation. So I guess management said tips over a certain amount are subjected to management review, and it could take up to 120 days for her to receive the money.
That entire management review thing just sounds like a complete scam. Oh, if it's over a certain amount, we got a manager review it. Code for we got to get our parts. Come on, dog.
We'll talk more when she returns back tomorrow. So then what happened when she showed up to work the next day? So they ended up firing this single mom because they said that her behavior after they said they were going to withhold tips was unprofessional and it was grounds for termination. And she ended up crying again during this meeting. They actually called the cops on her. So Olive Garden, honestly, be so for real.
Is the Olive Garden about to serve their last breadstick after what they just did to one of their employees? And why do I say that? Because the Olive Garden fired a waitress. You heard what I said. They fired a waitress because their claim is that she was very emotional after someone left her a $700 tip and they did not give it to her. So as you can see, an unknown customer went into the Olive Garden, had a $32 bill, and left a $700 tip. You could see the note right here, $700. Olive Garden then went on to tell the employee, the waitress, to cross it out and make it $0. Why? Because they couldn't verify the $700 tip. They then went on to tell the waitress that they terminated, that she can get up to 20% of that tip, or it may take up to 1 to 2 days or 120 days. And do you blame her for being emotional? She's working hard, earning her money, gets a tip like that, and then she's told she's not eligible to get it. She has to wait while they go through all of whatever they're going to go through. Her mother further came on and did some more explaining about what they actually told her daughter, that she should relax, calm down, or leave the facility and go home. So she then calmed down, she relaxed, she continued on her shift. She went home, came back the next day, and she was informed that she had been terminated. And the explanation that was given to the young lady was the fact that they didn't like her conduct, her crying, her being upset about not getting her tip? Seriously? And in another claim that they made, the reason why she did not get the tip, it was because the credit card that was used for the purchase of the dinner was fraudulent. The actual individual that owns the card that went to the restaurant actually put out an update. And in his statement, he claims that he found out that they tried to ring the $700 tip separately. So that's when he got an alert from his bank. And that's when he canceled the transaction completely. So then they actually updated the charge Olive Garden from $32 to $38, leaving the girl with just a $6 tip. And then they tried to charge an entirely different check for $600. In the end, it's just a shame that individuals like this young lady that work as hard as she does to get everything that she does on her own get screwed out of a tip like that. And the bottom line here is there was also a lot of talk that one of the managers at the location had it in for her. So what did they do? Take the tip and then terminate her? Not good at all. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
I always say if you want the full story, you gotta go do the digging. So this woman by the name of Brooke Skies, who used to work at Olive Garden in Fayetteville, Georgia, received a $700 tip on May 31st and returned back to work June 1st to find out she was fired. Now, when the situation happened, Olive Garden told her to write 0 on the tip line and that it was gonna take 120 days to see if the tip...
Would you guys, if your manager told you after you just received a $700 tip and your manager told you, hey, write 0 on the tip line actually, and yeah, we'll figure out your money situation later. Would you write the zero down? Let me know down in the comments. How do you feel about this situation, and would you do that in that situation?
Cleared and gave her $6. Now, what Olive Garden did anticipate is that the server mom had a TikTok account who goes by the name of Fat Bunny. She told her followers on Wednesday that her daughter and the customer personally knew one another. Mind you, when the card was swiped, it went through. Olive Garden got wind and wrote, "To protect our guests and team members from fraud, we have a policy in place to verify tips over $500 when a tip like this is given. The team member immediately receives a 20% tip on the check, and the remaining amount is provided once payment is successfully confirmed." Then they turned around and addressed the situation on TikTok, saying it's Olive Garden's policy to verify tips over $500 or far above the check amount. Olive Garden contacted the bank and confirmed there were insufficient funds to cover the $700 tip. Now, the customer told the server's mom that his card was charged twice, once for $38 and another transaction for $693. The customer said they locked their card to prevent any further transactions. Meanwhile, Olive Garden accused the customer of trying to scam them. I'm just saying, if the payment went through, she should have received that bread. Plain and simple. She shouldn't have lost her job because somebody wanted to be generous. And if Olive Garden did charge this customer's card twice, that's why it didn't go through a second time. But to give this girl a $6 tip and she continues to go on with her shift, continuing to work, and you fire her the next day, is some bullshit. Cow.
And it's such a fact. Someone in the comments said Olive Garden didn't help the case because 20% of $700 is $140. Why did they give the girl only $6? Exactly, because if you say you're gonna give 20%, how'd she get $6? You're not helping yourself, dude.
Have you guys heard about this? A single mother named Brooke Skies, who was working at the Olive Garden in Fayetteville, Georgia, received a $700 tip on a $32 tab, and Olive Garden didn't want to give it to her. They said they had to clear it first. One manager said it could take a couple days, but another one said it could take 120 days, so like 4 months. You'll see here on the bill, the person said, "Hey Brooke, happy late Mother's Day. Haven't seen you in a long time. Glad I was able to stop by." And down here, they said, "Here is something to help with your journey. Love and blessings, $700. Her mom made a post on Facebook just explaining what happened, and I'm going to read it directly because I don't want to mess anything up. She said, "She was fired today. My daughter has worked at Olive Garden for a year. Yesterday, she received a $700 tip on a $30 tab and was obviously excited." Right? Who wouldn't be? A manager told her that they could not pay it out yet and instructed her to write 0 on the tip line until it could be verified. She became upset because no one could tell her how long that would take. She asked a coworker to take her next table because she was visibly emotional, and management told her she could either do her job or leave. She took the table and finished her shift. Later, they said they could give her 20% while the rest was reviewed. One manager said 1 to 2 days. Another said up to 120 days. This morning, when she arrived for work, they decided to part ways over her behavior from yesterday and handed her paperwork stating tips over a certain amount are subject to manager review. They also told her it could take up to 120 days to receive the money and even called the police on her because she was crying and upset. Those who follow me will know this is Kenzo's mom, my 4-year-old autistic grandson's single mama. She was upset after being told she couldn't receive a $700 tip she had just earned and fired before her shift started today. That's just mean. And then Brooke commented on it and said, "Thank you, Mommy, for posting this. It's getting the attention it needs. Unfortunately, I was let go from my job under circumstances that I believe were retaliatory, despite my dedication and hard work. Throughout my employment, I consistently showed up, did my best, and worked hard to support myself and my child. To make matters worse, I never received the tip out compensation that I earned through my efforts. As a single parent raising a child with autism, every dollar matters, and losing both my job and the wages I worked for has placed a significant financial and emotional strain on my family. I'm simply seeking fairness and accountability for the work I performed and the challenges my child and I now face as a result of the situation." Okay, so check this out. This is a copy of the policy, and apparently they didn't give this to her.
This is a freaking sad situation. This is such a sad situation, dude. Like, you guys let me know what you really think about this in the comment section. Like, the fact that she has a 4-year-old autistic child and they're doing her like this, you know what I'm saying? Like, Shit's fucking crazy, bro.
Fired her. You can see up there it says tips exceeding 20% must be verified by manager to ensure accuracy and prevent fraudulent entry. So that's understandable, but why didn't they tell her that or give her a copy of this in the first place? And then here it says, explain to the team member why the restaurant is taking this action using these talking points. And right here it says to give them 20% until the rest of it can be verified. I think the way Olive Garden has handled this is completely inappropriate. A $700 tip, that's a large amount of money, especially for a single mother who's just trying to make ends meet. And when you have one person saying, hey, write a 0 on the tip line and we'll verify it in maybe 1 to 2 days, and then another person saying, no, it can take 4 months. I mean, that's obviously going to create some anxiety, and they had the policy right there the entire time. I'll tell you, when I was a single mother and I bartended as I was going through nursing school, I had somebody give me a $100 bill as a tip on like a $5 tab. And let me tell you, at the time, that was practically life-changing for me. I feel so bad for her, and I really hope Olive Garden fixes the wrong that they've done. If you'd like to help her out, there is a GoFundMe set up. Just search Help Kendo's Mom after Olive Garden Injustice.
A restaurant fires a server over a $700 tip. So apparently yesterday at a Fayetteville, Georgia Olive Garden, a server was terminated over a $700 tip. This particular server had worked for Olive Garden for over a year, and apparently someone that she knew had come in and sat in her section and hadn't seen her in a while, and they were catching up. And when the customer got their bill, they actually wrote in a $700 tip and actually wrote a letter to the server saying, happy late Mother's Day, it was so good to see you and catch up, I haven't seen you in a while, best of luck in your journey. And even just to verify that they meant to put the $700, the customer wrote at the bottom not only the $700 digitally, but wrote out $700. Because I guess the customer realizes that, hey, that's a large tip, and just to verify that I am leaving this tip, I'm going to write you a letter and even sign it at the bottom too that this is a legit tip. So you can imagine how excited the server was to actually get a tip like that. So they immediately went to their manager, because most restaurants, if the tip is really high, a manager has to approve it. When she approached the manager told her that she needed, for right now, just to put a 0 in the tip line, because they actually had to verify that they were actually going to be able to charge that card for that amount to give her her money. So she was not going to get it today. After some back and forth with the manager, she got really upset and she was crying and she was emotional. And at that point in time, she had just been sat at another table. Because why wouldn't you be emotional? You just found out from your manager you're not getting that tip that somebody gave you. She's trying to gain her composure in the back, I'm sure. So she asked another server, could they pick up that table for her, because she needed to go to the bathroom and get herself together. After managers found out that she had asked someone else to grab that table while she was getting herself together, a manager actually approached her and basically told her, no, that's your table, you need to get it, or you can leave and not come back. So even though she was visibly upset, she still went out there, greeted the table, and took care of her. After her shift was over and she was in the office doing her checkout, one of the managers informed her, like, hey, we can't give you that whole $700, but we can give you 20% of the $700 until we figure out if the rest will go through or not. Of course, if you got tipped that much, you're going to wonder, like, well, when can I get the rest of my money? And one of the managers told her, well, it might be 1 to 2 days. Then another manager turned around and said, well, it could be up to 120 days. Of course, this is very confusing. You have one manager telling you it's going to be 1 to 2 days you're going to get your money, and you got the other one telling you it could be up to 4 months before you get your money. So she kind of had it back and forth with the managers, because she obviously didn't agree with her having to wait up to 4 months on this money. She was scheduled again this morning, and when she arrived this morning, she was called to the manager's office. When she arrives in the manager's office, she's told that she was being let go due to her erratic behavior from yesterday. By her behavior from yesterday, I'm assuming they meant that she was emotionally upset and didn't greet a table, but asked another server to get it for her, and then also her having words with the managers back and forth in the office about her money. Not only were they firing,
anyone in that situation would be visibly upset. I mean, who wouldn't be visibly upset in a situation? Would you be upset in this situation, or would you not be? I think everyone would be upset in this situation.
But they gave her a piece of paper saying that any tip over a certain amount is liable for manager review. She's crying, she's upset. The manager is still telling her it could be 4 months before you even get your money. Well, how's she going to get the money if you're firing her? Like, how are you going to give her that money? As she's crying and upset, the managers at that Olive Garden called the cops on her and had her escorted out of the building. Not only did she not receive the tip that she earned, but she was humiliated by the restaurant calling the cops on her and getting her out of the building. Apparently, they did provide paperwork saying, hey, tips over a certain amount or manager review, and they did let her look at that policy today when they fired her. But why didn't you guys explain that to her the day before, or give it to her the day before instead of waiting a whole nother day to work your master plan about firing her? This is a single mom with an autistic son, and Olive Garden showed no compassion about giving her her money, or at least fully explaining it to her at the very beginning, instead of terminating her. Anyway, I'm going to put the picture of the receipt with the notes on there so you can see exactly everything that was written on the receipt.
An Olive Garden stole a waitress's $700 tip, fired her, and then called the cops on her. This is a post made by Bunny Williams on FB. This is the mother. He writes, yesterday, my daughter received a $700 tip on a $30 tab and was obviously excited. The manager told her they could not pay it out yet and instructed her to write 0 on the tip line until it could be verified. She became upset because no one could tell her how long that would take. She asked a coworker to take her next table because she was visibly emotional, and management told her that she could either do her job or leave. She took the table and finished her shift. Later, they said they could give her 20% while the rest was reviewed. One manager said 1 to 2 days, another said up to 120. This morning, when she arrived to work, they decided to part ways over her behavior from yesterday and handed her paperwork stating tips over a certain amount are subject to manager review. Also told her it could take up to 120 days to receive the money, and even called the police on her because she was crying and upset. This server is a single mother to a 4-year-old autistic child, and the customer who tipped her was one of her regulars. She even posted proof of the receipt. They told her Happy Mother's Day up here, that it's been a while since they've seen her, glad that they could catch her. There is a little something to help you on your journey. Love and blessings, $700. She also shared the paperwork from when she was terminated and their policy on what happens when tips exceed 20%, which is fine, whatever, but then to proceed to go on to fire her and then call the police on her is absolutely insane. She wrote, I was let go from my job under circumstances that I believe were retaliatory despite my dedication and hard work. My employment, I consistently showed up, did my best, and worked hard to support myself and my child. To make matters worse, I never received the tip out compensation that I earned through my effort. As a single parent raising a child with autism, every dollar matters, and losing both my job and the wages I worked for has placed a significant financial and emotional strain on my family. I am simply seeking fairness and accountability for the work that I performed and the challenges my child and I now face as a result of this situation. So let's get Olive Garden's attention and get this girl her money.
Wow, and you guys see how Olive Garden decided to treat this situation, treat this single mother in such a poor manner. A woman who has a 4-year-old child who's autistic. They decided to take a $700 tip away from her, and the 20% they promised her, they only give her $6. So you guys let me know what you think about this entire situation down in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.